Hello everyone and welcome to episode 25. Can't believe I'm saying that actually, of the Timing Podcast. Even more surprisingly, all three of us are here.
Hey!
I reckon it's been about 6 weeks, believe it or no, which is a bit bizarre. So first I'll ask Craig, how are you doing and what you're drinking?
I'm all good, mate. I was sceptical that we would get here, but I am over the moon that we're here, boys. I'm glad that we're all here as well. And I am drinking 71 Brewing, all the fun of citrus. It's a pale ale, nice and fruity, nice bright clan. And because it's episode 25, if I could open the fucking thing.
Oh, it's been a while since we've heard that noise. I've went down a similar route to you, and that I've got myself a magical wee tinny. Here we go.
Oh, smashing!
Just got a wee innocent gun this week. Bundy, how you doing, and what are you drinking this week?
Well, to start off, I'll address the drinking situation because, unlike you two, I have an even better drink. If you can see this, with the cameras on me, it's actually probably bigger than my head, and it's full of water because I'm still on the ye old have a fucked heart tablets. So here we are.
Fair call.
How I'm doing? All right. We've been going through some recent changes and stuff. So if I don't appear in podcast episodes, then it's not that I'm gone for good. It's just that I'm dealing with some stuff. But that's part and parcel of life. So we move. But aye, that's been pretty much it.
Cool, man.
Good stuff. So before we dive body deep into this episode, Craig, could you give us a wee plug for Crusoe?
I can indeed, and because we're on video, I've brought props.
Oh, here we go.
For anybody watching live on Twitch. Crusoe Rum, as you can see here, is a spiced rum new to the market based within Fife in Scotland. It's very, very versatile in the way in which it can be used, not only with general mixers like ginger ale, Coke, etc. It's very, very nice on its own because it's quite smooth in texture and sweet. It is very, very easy to drink neat. Also works really, really well in cocktails. Ian Brown, who's the head distiller, supports the podcast. We want to give as much love to him as we can as well. And it's a great product. He didn't come out to us and ask for sponsorship. We reached out to him because it's such a good brand. And if you're into the sort of Sons of Anarchy-esque branding, maybe a little Christmas present for someone, it's a no-brainer. So check them out. All of their details will be in our About description or whatever social media platform you're viewing this on. It should be within there as well.
Awesome. Bundy, how about a wee plug for Rogue, please?
I've just dropped on my toe, you bastard.
What style would you like? Would you like it in
I think we need to go YouTube.
Prime YouTube, right? Okay, Prime YouTube.
Get yourself hyped up for go punch a wall for 5 minutes or something.
Fuck's sake.
What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy is the leading energy drink in the market and is the best, healthiest, and has zero fucking sugar in it, alright? You're going to go to www.rogueenergy.com. You're going to type in podcast, any discount code to get 10% off any and all purchases, not just your first purchase. There you go.
You sound like a JML advert. That's what I can think when you do it.
Seal it, bang. Bang.
And the dirt is gone.
Hi, I actually know that full thing. It was, hi, I'm Barry Scott. That's it.
Mind there was a remix.
It's like it was. I can't remember what it was today, but it was a funny remix.
Gold. So this week's a bit different because we're going to talk about how we've sort of done so far. Maybe reflect on it a bit, talk about what's worked, what hasn't. Firstly, I think an obvious question is: did either of you think we'd make it this far?
Go to Bundy first. He'll be more positive than me.
I wonder what Craig's answer's going to be. Fuck.
It depends, because some of the things, right? So I thought we were going to do one of two things. We would make the podcast. It would go out. And it would be on Podbean, obviously our hosting platform, and it would do relatively okay and kind of teeter off because obviously we have no experience in podcasting, or it would take a bit of time and we might kind of get there and so on and so forth. But actually was pleasantly surprised because it went neither of those ways. It did take a bit of time, yes, 100%, but in the last 30 days we've got 100 listens in terms of the episodes and stuff like that. So again, really good numbers for something that is essentially something that we're just passionate about and doing on the side. And I think that in itself is obviously like a stat to be proud of. Obviously, we've kind of went and branched into things like Twitch and stuff like that, which is cool. We've had like a bit of a community and stuff like that. Again, very, very cool. But I think just in terms of being the focus, being the podcast, I think it's been something that I've been quite pleasantly surprised at, because we've had some banger guests. We've had some really cool ideas that have sometimes been episodes that have then stemmed into just chatting episodes and stuff like that on Twitch. We've done things like this where we're obviously recording an episode and live stream at the same time. So I think there's been a lot of things that I would never have imagined from day one, saying, well, let's start a podcast. But I think it's I didn't think we'd maybe make it this far, and if I did, I didn't think we'd be to this standard, I would say.
I think that's fair. How about you, Craigie? Give the sad version.
No, I'm not going to give the sad version. I'm going to give a really positive version, actually. And it's, did I think we would be here? No. But do I think we'd still be podcasting? Yes. I think if myself and Bundy especially stayed on the sort of Destiny side of things through Xbox, because for anyone who doesn't know, we used to play Destiny all the time together, and we used to have the most rambling conversations, and it was actually Ewan and Bundy who came to me and says, boys, let's do a podcast. We're pretty much doing one anyway. And it was kind of that love for Destiny was one of the main things we used to always talk about, and I seen it turning into this Destiny-esque podcast, and I felt we're going to do the Time Inside for a while, and then it's going to convert to more Destiny focused. One thing I would say, no, but I thought we would have reverted to more a sort of niche, and this is what Bundy and I were talking about before coming live, that we sometimes shoot ourselves in the foot not having a set genre, but it also benefits us because we can sometimes appeal to a wider audience. And I think coming from where we started and the lack of knowledge that we had to where we are now is really commendable. It's been really difficult as well. And I think one of the biggest things is that I have seen so many people start streaming as a big example through lockdown. Similar to us, we started this through lockdown, but then obviously can I say the world's went to more a norm? I know we're back in lockdown technically in England.
Normish.
Yeah, but a lot of people have kind of reverted away and it's died down. I think we've done a good job keeping it consistent, as much as we've had to make the decision, look, there's no point rushing this content. I'm going to step out this week. You boys hold the fort. I think it's really important that we made that decision, because if we kept everyone in every week, you guys would have noticed it from your side and it would have drove us mental, and I think it would have pushed us further away. But no, I didn't think we would have been here. I think we would have been doing something more gaming related, but I'm really happy that we haven't went down that route, because I feel as though Time In has more of a potential to bring in a wider audience than just talking about a certain game every week.
Agreed. I mean, at the start when we spoke about it, I thought gaming is an obvious one because it's something we're all passionate about, but why limit yourself to that when you can do, you could do gaming a lot of weeks, but you could also mix it up with plenty of other stuff, which has definitely benefited us. And what you said there about it's not feasible to have all 3 years on every week, we did for the first 5 or 6, I think.
6 or 7, I think.
When you think it like that, everybody was capable of doing it at that point. We'd learned the skills. We're all good enough pals that we can give each other honest feedback, criticism and plain abuse. And so it was easy to kind of build on what we had to start with. And not one of us was perfect, and not one of us is perfect at this. So it's been quite a good progression. I mean, all it took was, in fact, the last stream we done, we just had a sort of just chatting thing. We had Cam and Madge on. And then, for example, the last half an hour, someone put in an real life word ban for everyone, and nobody managed it. That was quite depressing.
Am I 7 months or 6 months deep into your Twitch subscribers, or what?
6.
6, fantastic. Can't wait.
I'm due Cam on.
And then,
anyway.
do you know something? I don't think I've used that word ever again.
Yeah.
See, it's actually helped. It's fixed the problem. Why didn't we do this all the way back in episode 2?
Negative reinforcement actually worked.
30 quid later, I've never said that word.
So one of the things I wanted to do was have a quick rundown of some of the big achievements we've made. So for example, 25 weekly episodes. How long it takes to make a habit, they say? Like is it 6 weeks to make a new habit? 3 weeks? Past it.
Done.
We've all learned a lot about sound engineering and editing. We've averaged 15 to 30 listeners an episode, and that's still growing, which is good.
The crazy one, Bundy pulled a stat just before we went live, and in the last week, 2 weeks, Bundy, what was it? Average listeners?
Over 100.
Over 100,
over 100.
which is phenomenal. And I know we're going to get into this. I don't want to step on Ewan's toes too much, but I think a lot of that has to do with the guests we've had on. But again, I'll pass it back over to yourself.
Oh, 100%. We reached a fill out on Twitch, not to be sniffed at, because that was something that was completely foreign to all of us. My next point is we've met some incredible people and learned a lot about what they've put time into, which was the goal at the start. It was that whole concept of you're standing in a pub, you're talking to somebody and they just start telling you what to do, whether it's a job or a hobby or something. We've learned how to podcast. However, what we have in the pipeline is a separate series that is how to podcast, and what we thought was bizarre was that you could listen to a podcast regularly, but if you wanted to learn how to do it, you had to go onto YouTube. So on a completely different platform. I thought, surely the obvious thing is have a podcast series. So something we've got to do on the side. It'll be a bit more technical, a bit more geeky, and maybe a bit more theoretical in terms of what you need to do to grow.
Yeah.
So from that list, what are you guys?
And also what not to do.
Oh, by fuck, that's a big list
we
now.
we need to talk about that at some point tonight. But anyway,
yeah, we're definitely going to get to that. But so out of that list, can you guys tell me what you're happiest about?
Bundy, on you go, my man.
I would probably say it's a combination of two, and I think that the two that probably combine is probably the 25 weekly episodes, because class. That's fantastic.
Half a year.
But I think exactly, and that's obviously like a big thing. But I think that the other for me is like those episodes and the guests are primarily are my big thing as well, because I think we've had some really good guests. And like just to name a few, like Philippa, Jasmine, obviously Monsters or Movie Posters, which is the previous episode to this.
Alex going way back,
Pod Wars.
Pod Wars being our first guest. Were they the first guest?
Daryl.
No, it was Lou.
Oh,
it was Lou.
It was Lou. Combat.
It wasn't. Was
Yeah.
it? Aye.
But so just like and I think it's been a good variety of guests as well, because you're going from combat sports to a fellow podcast to that goes mainly Star Wars, but any other things as well, to someone who is a model / OnlyFans model / everything else that you could ever be on Earth, because in terms of Jasmine is just talented and everything. Just whatever you can think of, Jasmine's somehow good at it.
Big thing
a
as
guy
well,
that wears a leopard print mankini.
Well, that might be in the best bits, I think. But
I think we need to include that.
one thing on Jasmine, just I think we need to shout out people where they're due, is that some people might read that stereotype of what Jasmine does and think she's going to be this sort of, I don't want to say the word bimbo, but you get what I'm on about, and she's actually very down to earth and actually understands the business that she's in very, very well. It was really commendable, and I still think she's one of the best guests we've had on.
100%. I mean, when we first spoke about getting guests on and stuff, that was one of the things I was most excited about, because there's that many interesting people. That was the concept of the whole show. And when I thought about interesting people I knew, she immediately sprung up, because I thought there's someone who's got great experience but is genuinely really intelligent, really nice person, just open to talk about anything. It's brilliant. Which is exactly the kind of person you want in this.
Exactly, and I think that obviously there was one episode where I was pretty much broken for a lot of the episode, which was the episode with Philippa, where I just sometimes I still think about that cake and just
like in the shower or when you're hungry.
Both. Especially when I'm in the shower hungry. But no, it's just like I just think it was just been really cool in terms of like, the guests and stuff and the variety that we've done because I don't think I've seen any or sorry many other podcasts. I say any, change it to
Nah,
many
fuck them.
other
Any.
podcasts that have had someone.
Fuck them.
Well, but I like going from someone who has been Miss Swimsuit to someone who has started a kind of bakes and grease bakery business in lockdown and stuff like that as well. It was obviously quite a stark contrast. So that's probably mine.
Craig,
I can't. What was the full question? We sound really amateur here.
tell me what you guys are happiest with having achieved from the list above. If you've not got the notes, it was the.
I've got no notes here. It's just because obviously.
How can you lose track when you've got the notes in front of you?
Mate, I don't know. One beer in and it's. But mine's is going to be a lot similar to Bundy's answer, but there's one really important factor that I need to touch on, and it's that Ewan and Bundy came up with Time In. They came up with the name, and I couldn't understand it as a brand. And the boys will tell you, when we first launched it, I was like, I fucking hate the name, no chance, I don't get it.
We argued a lot.
Yeah, but it naturally became a brand, and the whole aspect of Time In is where we bring someone on as a guest. Obviously, not every episode can have a guest on, but the whole priority is that we bring someone on a guest who either specialises within a job or a hobby, someone that's put time into something and then gives us that experience. So the guys actually created a brand without even knowing, and it naturally became what it is now. And I think that is one of the best things we've done. And I'm not going to shit on other podcasts. We're not amazing at what we do, but there's a lot of people making podcasts at the moment and they just chat shit. Now, we're experts in chatting shit, 110%, but I have not seen too many dynamics that bring so many different varieties of episode. And again, Bundy and I talked about this before this live stream and this recording, and it's that sometimes it hurts us because it's not consistent in what we're covering. But the thing that is a positive is that, for example, I've brought a lot of people on from my work. So someone like Lou, who's very much into baking, sports, she would come on and listen to episodes like the NBA episode, the episode with Philip about baking. Destiny isn't her gig, so she's not going to come and listen to that.
What?
And I think it...
Okay.
No, sorry, Ian. Don't shout her. She would knock us all out, so don't shout
That's
her.
fair.
But I love...
Oh,
Oh, go
no,
on.
not mute, alright. Have you ever seen how big I am?
No. People can't actually see you today, Bundy.
I mean, you can see how big I am.
Go into your bulking pose. I've seen this before.
Is this it here?
What is this?
That's it. It's where his neck gets wider than his head. How do you even do that?
I don't know. But I think it's really powerful that someone can come on from all different genres and hopefully find an episode that they enjoy. And as much as I feel as though that's the biggest positive, and I'm really happy with that, and I'm really glad that I wasn't a dick forever about the branding, because the boys absolutely smashed it. I made it look pretty, but the branding was Bundy and you, and it wasn't me.
Big brain.
But big brains, that's it. Look at the brains on that man right there. Just look at that man right there. That is brains in a picture.
Just looking dim with a can on my
Bundy's
desk.
just like... But I think
the cool thing is, Craig, just to quickly interrupt what you're saying there, the cool thing is, I think that when you see something like Time In and you don't really understand what it is until you hear someone explain it like what you did, and that is partly why, because obviously like, you'll know, you two especially, that obviously like I enjoy 100 Thieves, for example, right? But like if even now, because I don't think that this has ever been explained to both of you, right? You say 100 Thieves, you're like, 100's just a cool name, but the reason it was picked is because Nate Shop, Matthew Haig, the guy who is the owner of 100 Thieves essentially, he who says that every single day you need to put in 100% minimum in order to be able to go out and try and achieve your goals and be the best that you can be. And life isn't always going to come to you. You need to go out and take it. You need to steal every single opportunity you can. Hence the read 100 Thieves. And I was like, what the fuck? When he said that, and I was like, that makes so much sense now. And every time I see it, I'm like, that's cool.
I really like him and I really admire 100 Thieves, but see when people say you have to put in a minimum of 100%, and I think that's the max you can do. You can never slip up. And then I'm thinking, see when people say 110%, like, not even possible.
Doesn't make
Come on.
sense.
I do this at my work all the time. I write dick about it. We move.
Can I touch on something just before? Because obviously I've
Yes.
shared my most positive, and me being Mr.
Wait.
Septic.
That's the next bit. Didn't move
Am
on
I
to that
going in
just
it?
yet.
I'm looking at the notes now, and I'm like, I'm going to.
Didn't move on to that just yet because I wanted to make a wee point here.
Right, go on then.
What Craig said about the Brandon, just because about the thing I'm most happy about is probably the 25 consistent episodes. That's tough doing. 25 weeks dealing with each other. That's shite, trust me. However, the Brandon, like Craig says, you might not get a consistent following. So, for example, if it was a Destiny podcast, and it wouldn't be right if I didn't bring it up, you would get the same listeners week after week after week after week, but you're limiting yourself to that niche. Whereas what we're creating is like a channel almost, so you can dip in and out based on the show that you like.
It's a much more broad spectrum.
Aye, and let's be honest, it's not like we're making a lot of the lister revenue, and CPM's not really up there yet. Aye, it's aye.
Do you know something? See, see how you said the 100% thing with you. The CPM is my 100%, right?
'Cause it's
Because
per thousand.
do you know what that? Aye, that literally for anyone listening, it's CPM means cost per thousand.
I know. It's,
What? Why is an M there when it's thousand? What? Why? Anyway, continue. I'm going to just be angry about this in the background.
and with the Brandon, obviously, it takes a bit of explanation to make sense, and so that's a wee bit of a pain. So my next thing was, tell me one thing that's been a pain about the podcast, and I'd quite like to kick this one off because even tonight, hands up, it was probably my fault that we're having some technical difficulty. For me, first one is time, finding the time to fucking do it at a time that we're all free because we're all really busy. Luckily, we're kind of getting around that. The biggest thing, tech. I'm not bad with technology. The other two are much better, but for some reason, just getting sound to be right, video to be right, setting up streams, setting up record. I mean, you should listen to some of the audio in the early ones. It is disgusting.
But the thing is, Ewan, we put ourselves at a massive disadvantage because we started this during COVID, and we have actually only recorded together once. Out of 25 of the episodes, we have managed to set up remotely 3 ways most of the time. I know, obviously, you and Bundy changed and done a bit together, and then obviously Bundy got his set up now. I know that's a massive pain in the arse, and I couldn't agree with you more, but the fact that we've done that remotely so many times is really commendable, I think. Because we could have just sat in a room, I brought this
Hold on.
microphone, and then just been like, here we go.
Hold on. I would just like to point out that this is a not just 25th episode special. This is this very special episode because Ewan just said something that we thought was a pain, and Craig turned into a positive.
Back to front this week, what the fuck?
Yes,
And I mean, in our defence, this is technically episode 32 because we've done the first episode 4 times, and I believe we've done the last.
Yep.
Wait, what was it? The Destiny
Oh,
expansion
the
episode
Destiny one.
3
I lost
times.
count.
Happy 32nd.
Yay.
In fact, did we count the live stream as an episode?
Yeah, we did. The COVID episode went up, yeah.
No, the one the other
Right,
night
okay,
we didn't.
fair enough.
But
No, that was just chatting, man.
Bundy, anything that's been a pain for you?
I think probably for me personally, probably just the whole setup thing because at the start it was like you were like, oh, I can do this. Craig was like, oh, I can do this, and I was like, lol, I can give ideas.
You've got
Lol.
better character.
And it was
You've got
like-
better.
You're the
charisma.
personality out of the three of us.
You can't learn how to do
I
that
know,
on
but it's
YouTube.
like, I know. So like now, for example, when this is actually again because obviously you were busy. Me and Craig had a wee bit of spare time, so we just jumped to Discord call before this, which is why a couple of times we referred to before this. But before this, we were talking about how like something that frustrates me, and this is probably my pain point, is that had I already had this set up where I am now in terms of knowing what to do and knowing like how to do things is probably where I would have been at the start, if that makes sense. So it probably would have been a lot easier, a lot smoother, and just a bit better in terms of like production quality, we'll call it. but obviously it would have just also made things easier for Craig. Would have made things easier for you, and that for me is a big thing because I want to try and make it as easy and enjoyable for you guys as possible. So I think stuff like that's probably my real pain point in terms of like.
Don't give yourself too hard a time, because what we've learned in 23 weeks, you learned in 3. So I think it like that. You've picked up a hell of fucking quicker than any of us did. And
I still remember the first time he went to stream and he was just like, "What is going on?"
I opened the Streamlabs and I went, and just see the meme where the guy like throws up the peace sign and then just disappears. That was me.
Oh, glad you didn't see the American football one. I thought that was it. Anyway.
Oh, that's my favourite.
Craig sends it every time. As much as there's been a lot that's been a pain in the arse or things that went wrong, would you agree that's where we've learned the most?
Kind of.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of.
Let's be fair. You can learn the basics on YouTube. The rest of it's trial and error. I mean, there's no other way to do it. It depends on how everyone's set up, how you react.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second because my lights is turning on and off, and I'm not playing Phasmophobia, so give me 2 seconds. So continue.
What I would...
It wouldn't be an episode without something wrong. The highlight to me was the one where something... Oh, the coasters kept sticking to the drinks and kept clapping off the table. And then I had changed the light during the episode. It's different now, but it was like a ball, and it fell off during the episode. Both of us like jumped away. Oh, it was terrifying. Well, before he's back,
do you want me to touch on mine, or do you think I should wait?
No, go for it. Go for it.
We can catch him up when he comes back, but
Aye.
I think obviously the technology side has been a pain in the arse, and a lot of that's my fault because I jumped the gun. The guys know I set my my goals high, and I raced to that ending. I'm not a patient guy. I know it is a person, and I know it can drive the guys mental. But like, you can obviously see you nodding if you're watching the video side of this. But the biggest thing for me, no, it's okay, mate. I'm just talking about what I found has been the biggest obstacle, or something that I would have liked to have changed the most. Technology is a pain in the arse, but we're getting there. We're making it work, and we're now flexible that the 3 of us can do different things. You can stream, I can stream, I can record the audio, you can, so can you, and etc. The big thing for me, and I want your opinion on this, because we've talked about this a lot in the background, and I'm going to do this very PC so it doesn't upset anyone, but the politics of Twitch and the time that we put into Twitch, I feel as though it's hurt us massively. One, because you come on to Twitch and you see everybody say, "I'm a variety streamer." To me, that's someone who's just going to try jumping trends. And I think if you see, so we were originally the Time In podcast, and then we switched to Time In Twitch. I think, to be honest, we will probably eventually revert back to the Time In podcast, because you think, oh, these guys specialise in doing guest podcast format. But you come on and then you just see me screaming at Rocket League, or you come on and see Bundy playing Ghost of Tsushima. It doesn't fit with the brand. And we spent so much time trying to build a community, and we got guys in Discord, and we got other streamers. And to be honest, a lot of them kind of diverted away and done their own thing, which is fine. But it's because we didn't really know how Twitch worked, which Ewan's touched on already. But we didn't really know how it played into Time In. And I think going forward, now Ewan was actually the first person to kind of say, this isn't working. What we should do is we should record and stream the episode at the same time. And then what we'll do is we'll do like a just chatting series, or if we've got a large group of people on, say for example, friends of the podcast like Madge or Cam or whoever want to come on and play a game like Among Us, then we do that in Time In. And I think we wasted, especially me, I wasted so much time bringing people in, and a lot of them were other streamers, so obviously their priorities then, which I completely understand. And sometimes I felt quite cheated, because I was kind of like, I've brought all these people in and now they're fucked off elsewhere. I was a bit like, I've spent a lot of time on this, but now that I look back and I go, so fuck, we know what we want to do now, and I'm really happy where we're going to move with Twitch as a platform. But I just feel as though a lot of time was wasted on it, which we could have been doing, working more on establishing ourselves as a podcast. So I mean, I'm going to say this live.
Error, as you say.
Well, it's a special episode, and I'm going to say this live. Sorry, boys, I was wrong.
Quick, clap it, fucking clap it, clap it, clap it. No,
What's your thoughts on that? I really want to hear what you guys think, because I know we've talked a lot about it off camera and off podcast. But I think we're quite entitled to talk about it because it's been a major part of what's been on, and especially the last 2 months.
Tell you what's weird about Twitch, and I'll let Bundy go last because he is the resident expert on Twitch and should have the last word on it. But
Thank you.
personally, I thought Twitch which was completely new to me. It gives you a false sense of growth in that you sort of rocket up in no time. The views go up, you get affiliate in no time. You think, oh shit, we're actually doing okay at this. But it's that thing of it doesn't quite last once you get affiliate. It sort of dies away a wee bit.
Yeah.
And you meet new people, and everybody that we have met. I mean, there's been great people that have been willing to help. I mean, every streamer feature, every guest, even just streamer that we've ended up speaking to or being in a Discord with or jumped in their streams, they've all been helpful to varying extents. I mean, everyone's been friendly enough to help us in the first place or to give us tips and stuff, which I'm grateful for. But like Craig says, you put a huge, and it's mostly Craig at the start because he was the only one really set up for Twitch, if you like. He put a huge amount of time into getting to know Twitch, and as it turns out, it's not the best platform for us. What the model that seems to work is if each of us have our own channels for streaming when we want to do it, if we want to do it, that would then allow us to fit with our own brand, and then the podcast remains its own entity on this channel, and we can do like Quiplash if we keep it PC enough this time, or we can do what's the drawing one? Scribble.
Scribble.
Or just chatting, see that kind of thing. That's perfect for this channel.
Yeah, just look, the most successful YouTube sort of Twitch community in the UK is the Sidemen. They were all separate, and they still have their own separate entities, and they come together to do Sidemen Sunday, for example. They have what you're coming into. And I think the biggest thing is that we have this confusion. Is this a podcast? Is this a gaming channel? What is it? And then we made it even worse because I was like, right, Bundy, you do single player stuff or recent games. I'll do sort of creative games like open world Minecraft, stuff like that. You'll do Destiny. And I think it just confused it even more.
Oh, I play other shooters too.
Aye, but you know what I mean.
Behave. No, I think that's fair.
The thing for me is when there's two ways to look at the Twitch community, from a viewership perspective and from a creator perspective, and I think that the issue that we and probably everyone starting out has is that it's very difficult to understand from a creator's perspective until you start to create. The difference is, from a viewer perspective, you are a viewer, you go into someone's chat, you engage with that person, or you lurk and you watch the video, etc., and you see everyone in chat just kind of talking away. You might even just start to be one of these people who talk to other people in that chat, etc. You become part of the community that way. You then go and you join a Reddit, you join Discord, etc. Right? So that's the way everyone will kind of go in looking at it. But in terms of a creator, it's very difficult because in order to get a community, you need to have a captive audience. To have a captive audience, you need to play games that aren't oversaturated, that aren't being overplayed, but are still enjoyable, still something you're good at, because no one's going to watch me playing Warzone, getting no kills in every single game and going to the gulag and losing. But it's like, and I think then you've got the fact that you go, all right, cool, so let me link up with other Twitch creators and other Twitch streamers and stuff like that and try and link them with them. But the difficulty with that side is that you cannot at all in any way, shape or form just do like helping each other out, because at the same time, if you're streaming and someone else is streaming and you're both coming together to play one game, you need to make sure that your stream is your priority, whether that be the person that's you or the person that's helping you. You need to be that streamer, and I think that's where it's really difficult, because a lot of people can then be like, oh, well, that didn't go the way I wanted because like that was really difficult because A, B, or C. And that's why groups like Vanos Gaming, or like the Vanos group, as some people would know, or Sidemen and stuff like that, where they're all separate, but they'll come together for a group. They're known for being in that group, but they're also known for being their own identity as well. And that's what works, because if you look at someone like Wildcat's got loads of people that he'll play with, and Marcel basically do work as part of that. I'll watch both of their videos and I'll watch their group videos, but I won't really watch any of the other creators' videos. And it's because I don't really like any of the other creators as much as I like them. So if I was one of the other creators and I knew that from feedback given, like for me, I would be a bit gutted, a bit upset. But then I need to learn the fact that actually, do you know what? For every one of me, there's actually someone who prefers my content and someone who prefers my videos.
Yeah.
So
See, just
I
can I
think
give
that's the difficult part.
Bundy, can I give a little example of that? And it's what we've been discussing recently again. I mean, you've been discussing a lot, but it's the factor is, so Bundy and I, like Ewan already done, we've recently just went and started our own channels because we don't want it to play into time in. We want to have our own specific sort of safe space. And for example, how I am as a person is very different to Bundy, and we play different things as well. And we could get the guys that we've got from Time In, the community we've got, and we really appreciate everybody who gives us the time of day. We could say, look, we've made a new channel, we're going to stream these days. Can you come in, help with our average viewers, and help with our follower count, hit affiliate? Bundy and I could do that, I think, quite safely in a week to 2 weeks. Yeah, and we have done that for other streamers. We've helped them out, and I'm really pleased to say we have. But the problem is, and it's like Bundy said, when you hit affiliate, everybody goes, right, my job's done. I've got you affiliate. Right, you're on your own. See you later. And we were a prime example of that. We got some really good viewership, made some really good contacts, hit affiliate, and then it just spiraled because everybody went, right, you're affiliate. We don't really care for your content. We've helped you out. We're still friends, but our priority is this, which is completely fair. And it would be a big bit of advice I would give back to someone, saying, if you're going to start a Twitch channel, and you're going to reach out for people to support you with your viewership and your follows, I get it. It's a safe option. Using platforms like on Twitter that we have used as a podcast. But the problem is, once you hit that affiliate, you're on your own. And if you naturally create it and naturally gather a viewership, these guys will stick with you. And it's very clear when you see streamers who have grown that from nothing to where they are now. It might have taken them double, triple the time, but these people stick. And the problem that I think we done as well, and it was mostly me, to be honest, is that we brought people in that had their own agendas, very much helped us get to where we want to be, but now it's nothing. So it's a big bit, and that would be my bit of advice for a new streamer as well. But
I think the other thing that a lot of people see as well is obviously we see the top 1% in terms of content creation on Twitch and YouTube, and that's because the reason they're watched is because of the top 1%. And then you see people like, for example, Logic the rapper, right? So he started the Twitch channel, and then essentially just says, you know, I'm going to stream. I really enjoy doing this. It's actually something that's really fun, and he's got a really big channel. He's got a really big following. But I think what people forget is he's Logic the rapper. So it's like he brought a following. Yeah. And it's also this, not just that, but Courage JD, for example, right? So he was a caster on the CDL and other things as well, right? So when he made that transition from casting to streaming, he might not have brought as big an audience as Logic the rapper, but he still brought an audience and then had that kind of inside kind of info. I know that sounds really dodgy, but that kind of inside look already as to what he would need. Plus, this is also a guy that done film and video and stuff like that at college. Okay. So
he's a really interesting guy for what it's worth if you haven't got.
Exactly.
I'm okay to move this on because I'm aware it's becoming a Twitch episode.
Yeah, sorry, that was
to be honest, Twitch has got to be a side piece, side bitch for us. I was going to say, tell me one thing you're happy about. We kind of covered that with achievements, so I'm going to ask next, what is your favourite moment so far? And you have to pick one. Do you want me to go first? Because I've got one.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
I'll tell you what, I'll let you go for one and an honourable mention if that makes it easier, because I know picking one's a bit difficult.
Why don't we do an honourable mention for a guest or an episode?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
My favourite moment was, I believe it was after we'd done the intro and one of our own each, and we split off and we came up with ideas, and then see after that when you do your own episode and you've got a bit of ownership over it and you're like, I made this is something, we all listen to podcasts and you're like, this is something I would listen to, and you listen to it back and you're like, this sounds like professional. I was like, this is us talking. It's a bit surreal. That was probably my favourite moment. Favourite guest, has to be Jasmine, just because of how down to earth, how straight talking she was, and I know her out with the podcast, and that's how I knew she would be perfect for it. She's just funny. I mean, telling the story about her dad and his speedos, I'm sure it'll be in the highlight reel I'm going to make. Yes, that's gold to me. And I think the best way to explain it is like she'd never met Bundy or Craig before. She jumped into a call with us one night, had a drink, and just had a laugh like one of the lads. It was perfect.
It was good.
To me, perfect guest.
If you got any shout out for streamer features, any standout ones, Ewan?
I've got a few in my head, but for me, Cam. I spoke with Cam the first time about 3 weeks ago. Introduced from Craig because Craig knows him through work originally. I think
We worked together. Yeah, we worked together.
And so Craig put him in contact with me to talk about streaming from a console, because I'm lucky enough to be strapped with that. And so discussing that, got to know Cam, genuinely a great guy, and played COD with him, discussed how to stream and stuff. He's affiliate now. I was editing the episode where he was streamer featured, but I wasn't there when he done it. Turns out he's original Camba. There's a relationship between that and Black Mamba, as in Kobe Bryant. I'm a huge basketball fan, and he was a huge Kobe Bryant fan, and we never realised. And then when I was editing this, I spoke to him next time about it. He's just a great guy. I get on with him really well. He's a streamer that's well worth watching, definitely.
Yeah, he's going places.
100%. One of you guys next, Bundy, Craig.
Go on, Bundy.
So I'm going to say my favourite moment, and I think Craig's going to be raging at me once I say it, because I feel like he's going to be like, "Oh no!" But it was when so Craig was kind enough to come and help me out and show me the ropes for Streamlabs and stuff, and we were sitting in the living room, and I just made lunch, and Craig.
You bastard! You bastard!
Craig said, Alexa, play the Timing podcast, because we were playing Spotify songs. And then Alexa turned to me and was like, now playing the most recent episode of the Timing podcast, Comics with Daryl, episode 20, whatever it was. And then it started playing. And it was just really cool. Do you know what I mean? That was just really, really cool. As if to be like, I can turn around and say to Alexa, like, play it. And then it'll play it. And I'm just like that's me, that's you, and that's Craig. And that's fucking cool. I don't get anything.
I mean, to go with the title, we made it. That's when you know. You can ask Alexa to play your own voice.
Literally, and it was just kind of like, it was just like one of the things where I think like me, Craig was just sitting there like, that's so cool. And then the minute Ewan came in, because Ewan was doing stuff for the house and stuff, so he came in later, and we were just like, listen to this, and said it, and he was like, that's fucking cool. So that would probably be my moment. Honourable mention. It has to be Bakes and Greys. Has to be the fact that I went on that Instagram on the episode with Philippa, and I just, how someone can make a gin and tonic drizzle cake look that good. Just, if people say you eat with eyes, and I was full, very full.
Philippa, if you're listening to this and you haven't got a restraining order already, maybe something to get working on.
It was just good. I just love food. That's my issue.
What about streamer features?
We've actually surprising how many we've had now.
We've had a lot.
I'm going to say Ale Dream Game On.
She was very good, actually.
Mm-hmm. And probably one of the bigger streamer features we've had as well, which was cool.
The biggest.
Really?
I didn't know if she was the biggest or not, so I said one of the bigger just in case.
Oh, I think there's one that we need to give an honourable mention to in terms of streamer feature. I'm English. I think it's I'm English 995.
Yep.
He was our first, and so he was coming into it, and he didn't know what was happening. It was myself and Bundy that interviewed him. We didn't know what the fuck was happening, but we done it and we got through it, and he was a genuinely nice guy. He jumped into our streams, he helped us out getting affiliate. He listens to the podcast, he shared it with his community. He actually made a community, the Code 6 Gaming it's called, and it's a huge community, mostly based around COD, and if you go into his stream and you save up enough channel points, you can get him to wear a dress for the rest of the stream. If that's not worth it, I don't know what is. It's gold.
Also, just while I remember, another honourable mention for streamer feature was Welsh Dragon Gaming Run.
Oh, what a guy. I love him. I love him,
man.
man. Connor. He's
Connor,
well
if
worth
you're
checking him
listening.
out.
But Craig, hit me.
So, mine's is very, very similar to yours, and it's because as a person, like I have always worked with big corporate companies, and I've also always done quite an isolated job for a long time. I've always worked alone, and I'm one of these people. I need to feel ownership for something. You guys will totally understand this now that I'm saying this, but I feel as though I need to own something and I want something to be mine. And I've never really had anything and said, that was me. And that point that we were sitting in your living room, and I done it as a joke. We were actually pissing about, and then it was just like playing the Time In podcast. And I was like, what? That, for me, that was surreal. And it was even weirder. So on, was it Friday night or Saturday night? Saturday night, I got invited to a community night for another streamer. And she has a large community, and we played Among Us, and they were rotating people in. And on 3 separate occasions, they said to me, "You're one of the guys that does the Time In podcast thing, aren't you? I've listened to it. It's really, really good." And they were saying different episodes, like, "Oh, I listened to the Skyrim episode," because that community is generally Skyrim. Or there was someone who's like, "Oh, NBA," and I was just like, our viewership might not be large, but it's got a reach. And for me, I was like, holy shit, we actually have something here. Like, us 3 who are very incompetent fucking idiots have actually created something that people are listening to. And then even recently, the scariest one, Monsters and Movie Posters, I think is an awesome episode. Absolutely awesome. And I think, I said this to the guys yesterday, I think Bundy excelled in it as well. His interview techniques, his way of keeping structure was better than me. And if you listen to the early episodes, there's a big, big difference there. So that's a negative to a compliment.
That was a great episode. I wish I could have been on that one, but getting to edit it was good because I got to actually listen to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but the thing
you don't
is,
understand, Craig, right, is that I had just been watching hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos of like interviews just to try and be any good at it, but it's alright.
But the thing is, as well,
GMTV.
the weird one was, like Grant was telling me, he was putting on his social media, and Monsters have a good bit of following because they've been a band for a long time, and people are asking him saying, "Where can I listen to this? When's it live?" And that was such a surreal experience. I was like, fuck, stop telling people where to find it, Grant. So we say that
because most of it was shite.
Most of the shit. If they go back to like the first 10 episodes, you're like, oh my god, what is this?
Have you guys went back and listened to them?
Yes, I listened to Travel and Culture, which I still think's the worst episode. And it's mainly because of the audio. It's just
it maybe justifies
wild.
a do-over at some point.
Maybe, but for me, that was the most surreal. The fact that we've now got a brand. For guests. Guess is a difficult one. I want to try mention other people because obviously for me, I still think Jasmine's one of the best guests. But I've been really fortunate that a lot of people from my work and whatnot have joined. I don't know. It's a difficult one. It's difficult.
There hasn't been a bad guest, which is
No,
worth
there's
noting.
not. They've all made the episodes better. It's difficult. Do you know what? I'm actually going to shout out Lou because Lou's topic is a very sensitive subject. So Lou came on and discussed combat sports and how difficult it was for women to integrate. Now, we done that as one of our first 5 or 6 episodes. That's a really serious topic. And for people like us who were so inexperienced, for her to come in and go, yeah, I'm going to tell you my story. And there was a lot of heart in that story. She took a massive, massive risk. And I think it played out as a really good episode. As much as our sound quality and editing wasn't great because we weren't experienced, for her to come on at that point and share that amount of information with us, quite sensitive information as well, I think makes her one of the best guests. All of them have been brilliant though. In regards to streamer feature, everyone's been fantastic, but I cannot agree with you and More and Cam. I know it's me being a bit unfair because Cam's a friend of mine, but I didn't know the story of Cam's channel and I didn't know the story of Cam's branding. And when he explained about the mental health side of things, how the Camba was similar to the Black Mamba sort of idea, I sat there. I sat there with, it was Bundy and I had done the streamer feature, and I was like, holy shit. And Cam is the first person I really feel that we've done a streamer feature for, and he's gave a clear understanding of 1, what he does, what people are coming to see him for, 2, why he does it, and 3, where he wants to go. And that's why if I was a betting man out of all the people we spoke to, he's the one that's going to really nail it.
It says a lot because he's one of the newest streamers.
I think he
Mhm.
is. He is. But
In fact,
that would be my
and
points.
I've just had a
affiliate
brainwave.
lol.
Sorry, when you go, Bundy, I'll say after this because it's tangent.
No, I was just saying affiliate in a week, lol, never done before. Surely not. Jesus Christ.
I know.
I know.
Mad.
Mad.
I just remembered Lou was episode 6. Episode
Right.
5 was the first guest, mobile gaming. Alex, and he also done
but
nostalgia
Alex.
for number 9,
9.
which produced a screamer at a highlight, which will 100% be going
Oh
on.
no. Oh no.
Not leaving that out. So I'll leave that there. What we'd like to achieve next?
I'll pick this one up if you want.
Go for it, because I think I know what you're going to say in a second.
What do you think what I'm gonna say? I'm interested before I tell you.
I think the qualities went up exponentially, and I'd like to keep that trajectory. And personally, I think the next thing's potentially YouTube.
Okay. So I feel the qualities went up, and I think certainly myself and you need to look at sound editing and getting it to that next level. And we have contacts like Grant. I can call him Grant because he was on a recent episode. Sorry, Grant, Madge, whatever you want to be called. You're getting called Grant.
Grant is not Madge, by the way, for anybody.
No,
else.
he's not. I was only joking. But he's a sound engineer, so we can play into that. And obviously, he's part of a band. I would love to see us get to the highest level of sound quality that we can. The other thing, it's really simple ones I've actually got because I always overshoot. The second one is that we do this video format every week. So we have something on Twitch, and then we have the sound idea. And I think for people on YouTube, people who watch podcasts on YouTube are looking for some sort of video. We don't have to be doing something interesting, but visual is so powerful, and we've touched on it before.
100%.
And again, this was a big shout out to you, and was that our Twitch didn't make sense. I think now with the changes that we're still trialing, I think it makes sense. And once we nail that, I think that's going to be night and day. That's it for me from sort of what I really want to do. The only thing I'd maybe like to look at is getting a bit more of a catalogue of pre-arranged episodes. But again, the last few months, I got married, Bundy moved house, Ewan's just bought a house. It's not been normal circumstances. Ewan still isn't in his house because he's going to paint it 240 times before he moves in.
Mate, the amount
So,
I'm not going into it again because I've told you a million times I'm having to do a million
that's
goes.
my point. That's my point. It's really, really simple. And I think the big thing is that collabing with many people as possible, getting as many guests on, because I feel as though that's when we excel at what we do. And I think it's our point of difference as well.
Like you said, the rate we're improving it to keep that going, but like step it up a bit. And when we first started, I think everybody will agree, we all had this big wave of ideas, like we'll do this. Like I'll lead on these 5, you lead on they 5, you lead on they 5. And it was almost like, good, we've got up to 25 sorted. But we've sort of been looking at it as up to 25, as if that was an end point. And they were like, oh, fuck, right, what are we doing
We've
next
got to keep
week?
going now.
So, genuinely, haven't got a fucking clue what we're doing next week.
I've got 3, don't worry.
I know I've got 1, maybe 2 in the pipeline. But anyway, so the idea progressing it, as Craig says, the quality and the content and more brilliant guests would be incredible. But for me, see YouTube, that we spoke about it for a while, but just the time it takes. So what we're likely to do is we've probably got about between 5 and 10 banging ideas for a short vlog, maybe like a
massive video,
10-minute to 40-minute, or maybe even 10-minute to an hour, depending on what we do. Some of these include like things that will take us all day or a few days, involve travelling and stuff. So we've got an idea for that, but the idea would be to create a backlog and then release them and be able to promote them properly before they come out. So that's maybe something, but obviously with lockdown, where that's fucked probably about 75% of the videos, to be fair. That for me, that's the progression. What about you?
The ideas we've got are huge, though.
Yeah.
I think mine's would probably be something that's just that seems a bit pale in comparison to what you guys have said, but I would just like it so that like I could go on to like the analysis side of the podcast and see, because seeing the numbers we've got now are really cool, But if I could see something where we hit like into the tens of thousands, I think that would be really, really cool. And I think it's obviously like, quite far away, but I just think like if we were to do that, that would just be really cool. Even if it was just like we got to say 10,000 and then that was it, I would just be happy with that, because it would just be like, how many people do you know that have made a podcast that's reached 10,000 people?
I tell you a weird thing I tend to feel sometimes, and what you're saying is just kind of like summed it up. I feel like I try and be neutral as much as possible, and I know I'm not always, but I feel like Craig's that one that runs ahead and sprints ahead and wants to charge onto the next thing, and Bundy's the one that likes to analyse everything, perfect it, and so might trail slightly, and it's just like pulling in opposite directions at the same time. But I
You're
think
just
that's why it
holding each
works.
side. It's like, come here.
I think that's why it works so well, to be honest, because we've got that full spectrum. I like it.
And I think that like the thing with me as well, and like you'll know as well, but I'm a kind of person that I could have 50 ideas in my head, right? But I will sit on those 50 ideas until they become 5 really fucking good ideas, and then even at that, I might only talk about one because I don't think the other four are good enough.
Thing
And
is,
it's
the other
like-
4 are better than me and Craig's last 10 usually.
To be fair,
But the thing is, it's like, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say, I still think one of the best ideas we've ever done for the podcast is streamer feature. Even though I think you're a fucking dick, Ewan, streamer feature is still one of the best ideas that you've come up with.
Cheers for that, big titties.
Thanks, mate.
Aye, but just like things like that, where like I think like what you said, Ewan, I me and my brain work in a completely different way to like Craig and what he thinks, and at the same time, I would say that me and Craig think differently to you as well. But it's also like, I think you're right. That is obviously like why it works, and why certain things like go in the direction that they go. I think it's really good that we all bring different things to the table as well, because there is certain episodes where like you'll have seen like the NBA episode, obviously like Craig wasn't there, but even if Craig had been there, Craig would have just been sitting going like, what's a 3-pointer?
I've seen
What's
a ball
that?
once.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
really enjoyed listening to it. I thought it was really good.
I've got a ridiculous sound catch for you.
I don't know why that went weird there.
It just cut
I
off.
don't know where that weird there, but
We're back
I
anyway.
like it was obviously like that's like what you're saying. It was cool to listen to, which is good. But like, it's one of the ones where there's like ones where, like, for example, mobile gaming. I would have been useless at that. Like, I hate mobile gaming. So I like would have been like, yeah, I would be, you're a cheating bastard. Like, I mean, like, I just hate mobile games for certain reasons, and I'm one of the people that once I make my mind up, I don't move on it. So, and that's why it's good that we've got the 3 years, because if it was just the 2 years, it would be really weird sometimes. So it's good.
So, with that, what I'd quite like to do is thank everyone who has listened, commented, joined our stream, been a guest, told one of their mates to listen, has gave us advice or even messaged us about it. Everyone, because there's been loads of people that have all contributed and are just as key as us 3 in making this a success, if you can call it a success. I'm aware that's a really big stretch of the word, but I'd like to thank everybody else. I'm sure you guys are completely on par with that, am I right?
Yeah, I can't go through everyone individually, but the people know who they are. Anyone who's came on as a guest, anyone that's came on for as a streamer feature, anyone who's just jumped in one of our pretty shit streams, anyone who's listened to it on their commute on a Monday. Do you know what I mean? It's massive for us. And one of the big things I kind of wanted to ask you to, because I know we're kind of closing up very soon, is that, I don't think the boys will mind me mentioning this, and I was very much jumping the gun, and I wanted to go, right, I want to show cameras, I want to do this, I want to share it with everyone, and I'd done that probably early before the other guys. You and Bundy, this is a question to both of you. Do you feel proud enough to share it with people in your circle now? So to close friends and family. And I know that's a big risk, because I've obviously said to my mum and dad, it's not your sort of gig because there's a lot of swearing, a lot of sensitive content. But I'm talking more about someone who might be a bit external that might find it interesting. Would you now feel confident to say, I have this?
I think so.
What about you, Bundy?
I think it would
Depends
just
on
be
the
a case of
episode.
like. I think it just need to be a case of like I need to like set like a quick like, listen, Start episode 10 onwards, mate, alright?
I was thinking like 20, mate, but okay.
Or that.
I mean, see if you go back to the first 10, you could pick some out of that were fucking gold. Yeah, you could pick some out of 10 to 20 that maybe weren't so good. And it's just finding that consistency. Nobody has any idea. If you're only listening, you've never recorded one before. The amount of effort that goes into it is ridiculous. And it's no the effort of actually doing it. It's the planning beforehand, and then when you're in, getting it to flow and being able to react there and then and bounce off others. It's easy for us three because we talk shit all the time. I talk to these guys probably
Every day.
as much as I speak to my girlfriend at the minute. But hey, it's one of the things, isn't it?
But I think like what you were saying, like anyone who has been part of the process or has just been involved in the actual time in like series, we'll call it, or even just anyone who has just decided to just reach out, chat and talk to us and be part of it along the way, or just kind of watch through the sidelines. I think we appreciate anyone in terms of that kind of stuff. So I think it's definitely been something that's been fun in order to do, and has been a very good learning experience as well for all of us.
Do you know who I want to thank more than anyone? And I'm going to get soppy.
Oh,
I want to thank you
fuck.
two. I want to thank you two, right? So people like Madge and Chat, who'll know this better than anyone, he's grew up with me most of my life, is that I am a fucking hard ass, right? I am a fucking nightmare to work with, and I put a lot of pressure on people if I expect something and they aren't hitting it. I'm really, really bad for it, and I'm really bad for not understanding other people's circumstances. And as much as I've caused a lot of arguments, as have some of the other hosts, they've took it on the chin and just got on with it, and we've adapted. And I think that's one of the biggest things we haven't touched on. We have adapted so fucking much, not only with technology, not only with the way in which we record, the formats that we record, and like what we discussed on Twitch. I think it's really commendable, and I need to give a big thanks to you two, because the big thing I think as well, what I've learned over this period of time, as much as some people might see this as a stupid hobby or whatever, just messing about during lockdown, I've learned more about myself doing this probably in the last 6 months than I have done in the last 2 years, and it's very clearly highlighted to me things I need to work on as a person and things that I do well. So again, big shout out to you two for putting up with my shit.
Cheers, man. And
Just
cheers for giving
continue.
us the shit, because that sort of drives us on in a way. I mean, having somebody that is not relentless, but is quite persistent and
Passionate.
wants things to passionate. See, Bundy's the head of PR for this show.
Yeah, he's the nice one.
So he could reword my emails all day long.
I am HR.
I mean, having's, like you said, that spectrum where we have Craig pushing on, Bundy analysing everything, making sure it's perfect. I like to think I can step back and look at things like a bigger picture and give that strategic overview, but I mean, it wouldn't be possible with it. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the other two. And genuinely, if you look at the workload, not a fucking chance a person could do this on their own successfully. No way.
No chance. No chance.
I think obviously like if I'm going the soppy route as well, obviously I'd thank you too, but I think there's someone or something else I would like to thank more than that, and that is Rogue Energy.
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
I'm joking.
Listen to this cunt.
But I'm the same. Obviously, like, I appreciate you doing everything that he's doing, all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, thank you.
No, we're a cute bunch, and let's be honest, we've still not perfected it. So if anybody out there thinks that they know a lot about a subject or a job or an activity and wants to come on for an episode, it's not difficult. Look at us three. Come on. If we could do it, feel free to jump on. Get in touch via social media, which Linktree will be in the description. And I think it's fair to say that if anybody's seeking advice and wanting to start a podcast, all three of us would be happy to talk to them.
Yep.
Slide into the
Although,
DMs.
also just bear in mind that as a HR, I will also proofread any sort of communication sent out by both you and Craig as HR on it.
See for what it's worth. When something doesn't go right, and then usually if something doesn't go right, we argue, then we have a discussion, and then we test something to resolve it based on the outcome of the argument. There's once when we were playing basketball, myself and Bundy said, you came what's really difficult about you. I was like, what is it? He went, see when you and Craig are arguing, like, Craig will say something and I'll think, shit, Ewan's got to come out with a wide comment here or be really difficult. And he says, I try and type as fast as I can, so I'll get in a short message before you and then elaborate with a longer message, because I know you're just going around to try and wind each other up. Couldn't be more right. I mean, we've all done it. We've all done it.
And it's literally right, because like you sometimes obviously it can possibly be like on your phone all the time, especially like recently where I've just been like doing other stuff, right? And it's like, and it's not even like an argument as such. It's just like Craig will maybe like say, "Oh, do you want to do this?" Right? And then like I'm guilty for it as well, right? Or like say Ewan says something and then I'll say something like this wide, but it's like someone's trying to put like an idea in or say something, and then somebody will come out and be like neighbour milk titties or like something like that, right? And it's just like, and the other person's like, I'm trying to put forward an idea, right? And so that's what I see it, and I'm like, yes, that's a good idea. And then just try to type as quick as possible, get it in, and then that means the other person has to. I can just see you and deleting. Can I say neighbour milk titties in there?
It's nullified it. Nah, that's fair. Of course, socials will be where they usually are, just underneath the episode title. I think that's where they go. Should be where they go. Tune in next week for an episode TBD. Also professional. Thanks to everybody who's listened to any one of the first 25, and apologies if any of them were numbers 1 to 4. They will get better. They will keep getting better. Thanks for all the support, and cheers.
So I literally opened the Pringles can, fucked the Pringles out of it. They came in like in a perfect roll, right out, fired right out. And then I like suction cupped it right where it needed to be and shit. And I swear, if you like, I don't know if you're us in the UK, you know how big a Pringles tin is, but it's bigger at this point because it's one of the extra ones, right? So even worse. But then I'm talking a good 8 to 10 inches, maybe more. Same as a wine bottle, really. And this thing literally, I'm glad it halved itself on the way up because it was full and halved at the same time.
10-inch rubber sword. it was a horrible looking thing. Battery powered, obviously. We went and we seen this band, great night. And then after it, the band came out. It was quite a small band at the time, and Bundy was talking to them saying, "Oh, I really admire you." We're drunk as fuck, talking to the drummer, because Bundy's a drummer, saying, "Oh, I really admire you. In fact, I got you a present." And he pulls this out, and he gives it to the drummer, and the drummer's like, "Ah, cool man, I've never had one of these before." So one of our friends at the time went back to see them again the next night with his girlfriend, which was incredible. And the drummer was using it as a drumstick during one of the songs.
Oh, no way. So this is the thing, right? So like the guy the
So my uncle gave me his Star Wars VHSs when I was about 11 or 12. And I used to sit and watch A New Hope while eating the red and blue push pops. Kind of like the long, just ice lollies.
Yeah.
Just, you know, the ones that would rip up the side of your face. You look like the Joker. And so I had a red one and a blue one, both wedged in the side of my mouth, sucking on them while watching Star Wars, pretending I was sucking on lightsabers. And it's my mum and dad's bed. My mum and dad had the TV.
That's just getting strange.
That's a bit of sick fantasy.
That's just getting strange.
I never have a word with your uncle, jeez.
Yeah.
No, but like I was like red and blue, good guy, bad guy, like. And my mum and dad's bed would get stained where I'd like drip the juice on the bed.
Definitely a bad guy.